Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Hollandale Beach. Weather is perfect, strong 11 race card. The Benny the Bull Stakes a little later on. It's Travers Day as well. It's bustling already. Silks is popping with that early post, and we welcome our buddy Doug Wright back, who's helping out this weekend. He's going to be with us today and tomorrow. So Doug, good to see you again, and good to thank you for popping over.
Good to see you. My pleasure. Looks like a great card today. When I was looking over it, it seemed like we had a lot of wide open races, some good betting races today.
Yeah, it is a strong card, and the Benny the Bull came up really good with Comedy Town for Safi Joseph Jr., undefeated in 2 starts on the main track. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. Rainbow Six as well, and they put some money into it yesterday, so we're already at 6 figures today on the 11 race card. You can see the carryover, about $25,000, and we'll get up to an estimated pool of $100,000. I think the pools are going to be pretty big today with, a lot going on around the country, and we've got a strong card as well. Doug's got early pick 4 and late pick 5, and I've got the early pick 5. We'll take a look at it now, and I lost 2 top picks in the first 3 races, so that's kind of a bummer for me, so I scratch into a horse here in the opener. $24 early 5 for me. You can see in race number 2, 3-6 is your order in there. Race number 3, 2-9. That's the race where I lost my top pick. Safi had a couple. He scratched Alpha Blue, so he'll leave in Dr. Perry at a very short number. 3 deep in race 4 with the top pick, the 3 in there, parallel, and in race 5 you can see I've got the single of Evanora, my best bet of the day, going against White Claw Woman, who we'll talk about as well. That's a $24 early pick 4 ticket. Let's get into this opener now, though. We're 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta, 12-5 maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And as I mentioned, I lost a couple top picks. One of them was the 4 Wicked Ice, who was out of this race, so I lose that one. Doug, did you always have Eliana, the 6 on top?
Well, yeah, some things I liked about this 6 horse. He's shown great speed out of the gate in previous races, suddenly shortening up for this one. And if he runs back to what he did in those previous races, I think this horse has a really good shot.
Yeah, this is your morning line favorite, and I just kind of feel like she's in a good spot for a couple different reasons. The rest of this gang, we've all seen what they can and can't do. Eliana, if nothing else, she's never run one turn on the Tapeta. She's cuts back. I like her post position too. You're going to go to the outside with the 11 Vanishing Wish, who's sitting up there, which should be a very square price.
Yeah, that's a pretty good horse too. It's run 2 straight third places after dropping down to this level, and ran third as an even money favorite, 2 back in her first start here. So I think this is a horse that should be in the mix as well. I had her on my list.
Ruben Sierra has been going pretty good of late. I've got the 3. We both have the 3 St. Joe Jet with some interest in there. Seems to be improving. If we can run back to that last race, a big threat, but I don't really know where it came from. So we'll tread a little lightly there. Early pick 4 time in race number 2. We'll go a mile and 70 on the Tapeta. These are $35,000 maiden claimers in here. A compact field of 6. And as I mentioned, Doug's going to walk you through his early pick 4 ticket now.
Yeah, I have 3 in this second race. It seemed pretty wide open to me. I like the 6 the best in the second race, wider than a mile. Third race, all at this level, but hasn't run this far. But you got to like the jockey and trainer hookup on this one with Zayas and Sano together. Did run a disappointing 4th after a bump start in the last race as a 2-1 favorite, but with a better trip. I can see the 6 coming out on top, but I also like the 3 and the 4 a bit in this race, Del Rosario as well as Nashville Slew.
And then what about for the rest of the sequence?
Okay,
race
sure.
3 through,
in the third race, you mentioned the Safi Joseph horse Alpha Blue getting scratched, but that kind of leaves it to me to the number 2, Dr. Perry. Best last out buyer at 65, finishing 3rd in a 16,000 claimer race. Same distance and surface again coming back, but I didn't want to just single one out. I think the 6 has a shot here. Romping Runner broke its maiden 2 back, rallied nicely for 3rd its last race at this level. Moving on to the 4th, you got the 5 and the 6 in there, Simply Striking. Bumped at the gate, so I had an excuse in that last race, and 2 races before that. The 2 of them, both very impressive, jumped right to the front in each and went wire to wire 2 races back. The 5 looks like a pretty strong competitor in that 4th race, but how about the 6, though? Looking for its 3rd straight win. Let's Go Coco. Last 2 coming on this Tapeta track. Last race closed like a freight train to beat Marcia by half a length. Love that name, but I like Let's Coco in the 4th. Looking at the 5th race, White Claw Woman. A horse's name who my my sons have familiar with White Claw women. You know, if you don't know, White Claw is one of those popular beverages the young ladies like to drink these days. But the one horse, I think it's a strong one for this race. Smoked the Field to win its maiden by 4 lengths last time out at even money. Yaramio coming back, and I think it has a great shot. The only competition the one should have in this race is from the 2, in my opinion. Capisi has some early speed to go right out with White Claw women. I see those two dueling at the front, but that's my early pick. 4 only cost you $12 to follow it.
Very affordable, $12 ticket. Let's get into that opening leg now. Doug already mentioned the 6 wider than a mile, Antonio Sano here. There's not a lot of proven form in the afternoon. They bet this horse hard last time. You already mentioned Edgar Zayas aboard. Let's take a look at a stat here for Antonio Sano in race number 2, because he's done pretty good with this angle. 22% maiden claimers to Peter Rouse, so that's pretty strong with a big ROI. Looks like it's go time. We're coming off the turf back to the Tapeta, and she'll route on it for the first time. I put Del Rosario on top. Ruben Sierra, who you mentioned in the opening leg, maiden special weight dropper here, comes out of the Andrea race. We'll see what we get today. And then you've got Nashville Slew in there and as well, the Roger Lauren homebred.
Yeah, Nashville Slew, another one dropping for maiden special weight. We got a whole bunch in this race doing that. We know that's the biggest drop in horse racing. Disappointing debut. Went off a 27-1 in that race and finished 9th of 11. Last race was on turf. This is its first race on Tapeta. Maybe it's the right surface. We'll see how Nashville Slew does today.
Yeah, and as Doug said, biggest drop in racing, so she could wake up a little bit in here as well. Let's turn the page to race number 3. We'll go 5 furlongs on the Tapeta here, 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. The tag in here is 8. The big scratch of the 4, Alpha Blue, who I did have on top. Both of us now, Dr. Perry, the Safi runner that was always going to be favored anyway.
Yeah, this is a really strong horse. It looks like Zayas riding for Safi, and that's a great hookup to look for when you're here out at the track deciding who to bet on. You get a great trainer, you get a great jockey, and that's not a bad thing to put your money behind. They took a shot with this horse at Churchill Downs, an allowance race, first off the claim. The horse has had some glory days in the past, but at a different level here today.
Yeah, the layoff is a little worrisome. January 17th for 16, coming back for 8, but it's Safi, it's Ken Ramsey. They love winning races, and if he's going to scratch his stablemate, I would think Dr. Perry is in a pretty good spot here. You've got the 6 Romping Runner, 1 for 12, but always is along for a piece, and actually didn't run that poorly facing winners last time for the first time.
Yeah, broke maiden 2 back, rallied nicely for 3rd in that last race you mentioned. Overcame the bump start in that race to do it, so with a clean trip, Romping Runner may romp.
Race number 4, we'll get back to the Tapeta. We'll route this time at a mile and a 16th. These are fillies 3-year-olds and up, which have not started. It's a starter optional claimer, 50 to 35. Big scratch here. The 2 Delightful Summers out, but the big scratch is Marsha. Marsha is out of this race, and she was going to be favored in here. Let's Go Coco, her last race when she beat Marsha. We're probably going to take a look at the start here when Marsha was kind of whacked around a little bit, but then what we'll do is after, because she is out unfortunately, but then we'll take it to the far turn. Let's Go Coco, to be fair, was really, really good in this spot. It was her 2nd straight win, and she's going to go for the hat trick today, Doug, and with her main rival out of here, things got a lot easier for her.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like you, I had the 4 and the 6 on my ticket for this race, but look at the way Let's Go Coco closes from the outside here.
Exactly. She's going to level off nicely in the lane. And, you know, Marsha, I know she had a little trouble there, but she's 1-2, and she couldn't see it out. And Let's Go Coco's rolling on here late. It was a good ride by Edwin Gonzalez, and I think there's plenty to like from her in this spot today. I did try to beat him. I didn't have Marsha on top. I'm coming back to Parallel, who was kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit in her last start, a stakes race in the Martha Washington. I didn't think she ran all that poorly. You know, she's going to get back to the Tapeta. She was 2nd over it earlier in the year during the championship meet. We'll see what we get from her today. Simply Striking, you mentioned earlier. I have no idea why this horse was 5-2 last time. She can get back to her races 2 and 3 back. She's a player.
Yeah, coming off a short layoff, but one in similar spot to this one way back in May. I think the horse got a shot in here. Had an excuse the last race when I said, or when I mentioned that the horse was bumped at the gate, and still didn't do that poorly. and I think it could bounce back today.
Yeah, and she's with a better group today. That was a pretty salty optional claimer last time, and I think she's with a couple more of her friends today. Race number 5, one more before the break here, 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. These are $16,000 2Ls, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. It's a clean race. Doug already mentioned White Claw Woman. Let's bring up her last race. I mean, there's not a lot going on here, but it was a real tour de force, and she had to earn it too. She was dueling throughout, and Doug, she's going to end up winning this race by 4 lengths. This was a really, the horse that she's dueling with, dead last in this race too. It's a good effort.
Oh, for sure. Watch how this horse just comes through on the rail here and wins by 4. Went off at even money in this race, as you can see, a little less 4-5, but certainly showed her worth, just blowing them away at the end. Look at that, like shot out of a cannon here.
Yeah, and she's going to have to earn it again today because she's down inside. You already mentioned the 2 Capisci, who's right to her outside. They're going to go hard early and often. I don't think White Claw Woman now facing winners. I was impressed with that race. She was my best bet of the day last time. I'm a little against her today. My best bet is in here, and that's the 3 Evanora, who I've tried in the past. Admittedly, I actually tried her as my long shot 2 back on the Tapeta. Well, now she's second off the layoff. She drops a little bit. And I think, Doug, if the 1 and the 2 start hitting hard early, she's going to be in a good spot entering the far turn.
She could be there to pick up the pieces at the end. I like the 1 and the 2 to hold up more, especially after seeing that videotape of the 1 in that race. But as you mentioned, Evanore's taking the big class drop. Last March, took a shot at a $100,000 stakes race at Tampa, but finished last out of 6. That wasn't the right spot. This could be.
This could be. And Edgar Zaya is going to get a board today for Georgina Baxter, and just maybe she trips out in this spot. So we've got 5 down, 6 to go. We'll take a little break here. When we come back, Rainbow 6 time, $100,000 in your estimated jackpot. Stay tuned.
And they're off.
New DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access past performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Go back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau, Doug Wright with you here on a beautiful Saturday in Hollandale Beach. We've got 11 of them for you. The Benny the Bull, the feature with Comedy Town. We'll get to it in a second. But as I alluded to, that Rainbow 6 already up to $100,000. We'll take a quick look at my ticket now. I'm not going to put a lot into it today, Doug. I thought it was what could be a very, very formful sequence. You can see I've got 3 singles. We'll get to this one in a second. Race 7's a good 2-year-old race. I'll spread a little bit in there. The 7, Light Forever on top for me for Oscar Gonzalez. And race number 8, I've got another single. That's the 3, Blue Slide Park. Oscar Gonzalez again. This horse could be a very short number if they feel like betting today. In race number 9, we'll go 3 deep. I'm down to the inside, the 1, Morgan Point. There's a price for you. Race 10, I'm not trying to beat Comedy Town. It's just onward and upward to me today, and as he goes for his 3rd straight on the main track. And then in the finale, unfortunately, I lost my long shot today, the 1, Mikasa. So I scratch into the 6, No Action for Rohan Crichton. That is a difficult finale. I'll throw $9.60. Can get it for under $10 in the Rainbow. Doug,
I was cheap with my $12 pick.
That's
4.
all right.
Come on, man.
Don't look for something that's not there. So we'll come back here to race number 6. It's optional starter, optional claimer here for 3-year-olds only. 5 furlongs on the Tapeta, and they're all looking up at Riza Rolex. But though, Doug, you're going to go Icelander. We can show the race too, because Riza Rolex beat Icelander and also beat Roan last time when they tangled, and Riza Rolex on the front. But Icelander definitely ran well, Doug, off a little bit of a break and a trainer change in that spot.
Yeah, only finished 1 length behind the favorite and didn't have the best trip, and ran strongly at the end. He had some kick. and I think maybe he can turn the tables here today.
With that behind him, he'll be a better price as well. And I thought it was a very, very good effort. I was a little bit hesitant. Can he come back to it? It was definitely above and beyond. And Reese's Rolex is just 5 for 8 on the Tapeta. All he does is win. He's won 4 out of 5. This is a spot where I don't like taking a short number. He's evens on the morning line, but we'll pop him on top. Roan, you saw in your picture. I thought Roan ran pretty well. It was his first start since February, trying a Tapeta again. I think he can move forward off of it, Doug, although the 27-1 of last time was long.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, too. He was a long shot, but finished 4th, and wasn't too far behind the 2 favorites in this race, so that's another one that could surprise.
Yeah, I think clearly Reese's Rolex is the horse to beat, but the margin is not a big one. You got Speed from Insisting, but he can kind of make his own trip, and he is all racehorse. Joe Orsino has done such a good job. He's got Roan as well.
Another thing I found interesting is both Reese's Rolex and Icelander, who dueled in that one, are both dropping in class for this one. So
yeah, it was a better group last time. I don't think there's any doubt about it. When you get eligible for these starters, you can just keep firing. We've seen it with Reese's Rolex. We're going to see it tomorrow with Fly the W. We'll talk about in the lightning round. Now, late pick 5 goes in race number 7. We'll kick it off with the 2-year-olds here. Doug was on that early pick 4 ticket. We'll take a look at his late pick 5 ticket now. $18.
Yeah, let's do that. In the 7th race, I'm looking at the number 8 there mostly. Bluff, priciest horse in the race, had some strong works. You got Vasquez getting the call from Mark Cassie. All 7 siblings of this horse won, so I think the 8 will be on top, but leaving the 1 in there just for safety. It's not an expensive ticket, twice as much as yours, but $18 isn't too bad. Then in the 8th, my top horse there was the 3 Blue Slide Park, taking a tumble from the optimal claimer ranks. Biggest drop of any horse in this race, and I think the 3 looks really strong there, but I still spread out a bit. In the 9th, again, it's the number 3. I like the best here. Sound of the Beast, surprised a bit by finishing a strong 3rd in a slightly higher price race last time out. I'm looking for the 3 to bounce back and run strongly in the 9th and the 10th. This is the big one, the stakes race today, and my favorite in there was scratched. Just like you lost a favorite. I kind of like Big Data. I liked Big Data, but Big Data won't be running today. But with him out of the race, it's got to be Comedy Town, the way that horse has performed. But I still spread out a bit with 2 other horses in that race, both classic Car Wash. I could wax on about that horse forever. Sorry, I had to do that. Or also, I think the 5 Big Martini has a shot, despite the move up in class. It's a horse that doesn't run too many poor races. And then in the last one, I singled out the 2 Heir to the Roar, looking for the 4th straight win there, and I think that's clearly the class of that race.
Yeah, he's been in such good form for was Ruben Sierra. We'll go off the claim today, looking, as Doug said, 4 in a row. All right, race 7 now kicks it off. You want to check the tote board here. There's some 2-year-old first-time starters. Yeah. Safi's got a pair of them, but you're going to go to the outside. The DJ Firster for Team Cassie. Bluff figures to be 9 to 5 on the morning line. I got a feeling they're going to send it in pretty good on Bluff today.
Yeah, it would seem so. I mentioned he was the highest priced horse in the race when you look at things like this coming in, because a lot of these horses are lightly raced, so you got to pick based on the trainer, the jockey, the price, the works. I mean, a little different handicapping for a guy like me who likes to look more at past performances, but I landed on the 8 as well. Well,
we'll take a look at a stat here from Mark Cassie in the barn as well, because this is a barn that has won. This is Gulfstream, okay? First time starters maiden special weights at Gulfstream in 2024. 4 for 18, solid enough. 22% bullet, got the job done in the Royal Palm earlier in the year. This barn has won 24 maiden special weight races this year with 2-year-olds. That's impossible. It's August 24th. The program has certainly tilted a little bit to win early. Bluff for DJ, I think, is in definitely a good spot. I just don't like the outside draw with these firsters. I went with the 7 Light Forever, Oscar Gonzalez. I think the fact that Jaramillo is here, Doug, says maybe you better look out on a horse that does have a couple nice works, too.
Yeah, I noticed that Jaramillo was riding for Gonzalez today, horse making its debut. As you know, the sire of this horse hitting on 14% of its debut runners, so that's pretty solid. One horse I took a look at was the 4, because this is the only one with really much race experience. Its 4th start at the maiden special weight race. Ran pretty evenly in the first 3. Didn't embarrass himself, but maybe that experience will help today, and I had him on my ticket.
Well, the experience is a big thing in these 2-year-old races. Safi's got 2 firsters. He's got the 5 Bold and Breezy with Van Dyke, but he's got the 1 Forever Now with Edgard. I want to pull up a breeze work. This is earlier in this horse's, as he's getting ready for this debut, a Son of Global campaign. I don't like the rail. He's down on the inside. This is June 21st. I thought this was a pretty polished drill. He always seemed to be going better. The horse on the outside, Camp Evans, is kind of just being, niggled on to kind of keep up with him a little bit, while Forever Now is doing it well within himself. Now, this was on June 21st, and this was a solid drill. I think the ante has been upped in the morning since then. He's been working very, very well. Safi won with a firster yesterday. Oof, the rail could be tricky, but Forever Now with Edgard aboard, I think we better pay attention to. We'll go to the late pick 4 in race number 8, and that's my ticket here. We'll take a quick look at it now, and as I did in the Rainbow, we're not spending too much here, just $6. This is a type of sequence where I'll try to pop a few times with double singles. In race number 9, I've got the 1 Morgan Point, and then I mentioned in race 11, I did lose my top pick. We'll scratch in to the 6 no action on just a $6 late pick 4
Did
ticket.
you have a rough weekend at Saratoga last
I
weekend,
did
Brian?
not.
I mean, $9 and $6?
A lot of fun in Saratoga last weekend. So we'll get into it in race number 8 here now, and these are $170 on the Tapeta, $16,000 2Ls, 3-year-olds and up, and Blue Slide Park. Listen,
Yeah.
I wanted to make this horse about 6 to 5 on the morning line. I couldn't get all the way down there. I think the Tapeta race 2 back absolutely might lap this field.
Yeah, I think so too. He could win this one for fun. He's taking a big tumble from the optional claimer ranks. The biggest drop of any horse in the race.
Right.
Ran the best buyer on this surface. Ran an 80 buyer, and if he runs back to that, forget about
Will
it.
drown this field. Now,
Exactly.
it was 31-1 that day, so sometimes they don't tend to come back to him. Oscar Gonzalez takes over for Arnil Cordero. Everything Oscar has put a saddle on has been running very, very well. And Blue Slide Park would probably be a very short number in here, all the way to almost to the outside, and that's the 11 Crypto Man underneath. Listen, anybody underneath is going to add value to this.
Oh, for sure. And you got trainer Safi Joseph on this one. He's using Hazelwood as his jockey. That doesn't do that too often.
Nope.
But I notice Hazelwood's numbers are pretty strong when he gets a ride here.
Yeah.
He does pretty well, and coming from the outside could be a challenge, but you got to love the trainer, and you got to love the drop in class also from Crypto Man.
Rode yesterday for Safi, and this is a guy he'll put on every now and again. Crypto Man going to have to prove it on the Tapeta. Has never run here, but at our sister track at Golden Gate, he did post a win back in November on the Tapeta, so we'll see what we get today. I just found this very difficult from there. I put Motivo just because he'll probably be a price. Has been running good on the turf. We'll try the Tapeta today. We'll see what we get, but again, looking for some value underneath in race 8 on a horse that probably going to be a very short number on
if
top.
he does like the Tapeta, he could surprise in this one. It's like you said, ran strong on the turf, but making his debut on the synthetic.
We'll see how they handle it. Late pick 3 in race number 9. We'll get on a fast main track. These are state-bred optional claimers. We're going 6 furlongs here, 3-year-olds and up. Rookie, the 2 is out, and the 7, Far From a Star, is out as well. Sound of the Beast for you, Doug, Rohan Crichton.
Yeah, this horse surprised a bit by finishing 3rd in a slightly higher priced race last time out, and then comes back at a little bit lower priced race. Was running allowance races back in the spring and didn't embarrass himself at all there, so this could be the right spot for him, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge class drop. Those are open optional claimers last time. Practically Dark and Zydeco are good, accomplished older horses. Sound of the Beast never wins. That's what bugs.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's what bugs me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to certainly use him. He's an A, but I'm going to go to Morgan Point. I want to show you his race last time. He was really good. Now, we didn't know what to make of him last time because he was off a 4-month layoff and he was dropping with races that would just bury this group, and he had to dig down, but I was impressed, Doug, that he earned it because he was basically dueling the entire way, and he pulled clear late, and he was actually geared down late. This was a good win.
Oh, it sure was. I mean, he went wire to wire, and he was challenged, as you said. It wasn't just an easy wire-to-wire breeze. He had to fight off that 2-horse there, and, drew away at the end. Very impressive run.
Yeah, and now we're off the claim for Perez and Abario. I've said this many times. They've hit for me with their 1 winner at the meet at about 11-1. These guys know the score, and they can be crafty. I think Morgan Point now, second off, if he gets back to his other races. He's a big player in here. The rail's not ideal. Lace Up was good winning last time, Doug, off the layoff. If we can rise in class, he's a player.
Yeah, Vasquez and Fox hooked up for that one. Yeah. $25,000 claimer victory last time out, and he stalked and closed nicely, had a nice buyer of 77. That was a career best. There's no reason to think that the 5 can't be in there. We both have them on our
absolutely
trifecta ticket.
He's a big player. If he can back that race up on a little bit of a rise, he's a threat in here.
Sure.
The feature, race 10, the Benny the Bull here, $100,000 on the line. 3-year-olds and up, 7 furlongs on a fast main track. Big Data, the 3 on the comeback, is out. He scratches, as does the 7, St. Tappet, and Comedy Town, 6-5 on the morning line, probably went a lot lower than that with Big Data out, and he's just been streaking since Safi put him on the main track.
Yeah, really. He blew out a 100 buyer. Surprisingly.
Well, let's show it to you. This is a smile.
We're going to see that. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had this loaded up, Brian.
Yep,
Let's take a look.
Power effort here. Run Classic, who I loved in the Grade 1-4 go at Saratoga today. He scratched, but Comedy Town, just all racehorse.
Yeah, my goodness. I mean, if he can run back to this, he's going to be awfully tough to beat. There are a couple other ones that do have a shot, but a 100 buyer is by far the class of this field.
Yeah, I mean, some people could think maybe he regresses a little bit. I don't really see why he would regress. He's drawn perfectly. He's 2 for 2 here. He's won in the slop. That was his first start on a fast main track, and he was even better. And this is, and I don't want to disparage anybody else in here, this is a monumental class drop. The Smile was a legitimate graded stakes race.
Yeah, and he won. He won for fun almost. Yeah. He has Van Dyke back up today as the jockey for Safi, and he's got to be familiar with this horse and must be really confident coming into this race as well after that one.
And the horse that is probably his main rival now, Big Martini, he whacked him around by 2 lengths, 2 starts back.
Yes, that's true. And Big Martini's making the move up here.
Yeah.
But this guy rarely runs a bad race.
Nope,
I kind of had him on my ticket. He comes off a July 19th tune-up win. Ran 2 straight seconds before that at the same level. Yaramillo rode him the last 3 starts, but Yaramillo was moving to Big Data today. They got scratched. So that was kind of an interesting move as well. But you got Trejos riding today.
I will mention, and I'm not a huge weight guy, but it was a 5-pound swing. There were even weights when they met on June 8th. Big Martini will get 5 pounds today. Classic Car Wash has got a big race in him every now and then for Team Cassie. It's just a question of, is he going to deliver it?
Yeah, that's true. You got Vasquez riding for Mark Cassie here, and this horse has done well at this distance. Couple wins, a second and 3 tries, all here at Gulfstream Park. And has run graded stakes races in the past. He's got a really nice resume, and I see no reason to think he won't be in the mix, but I noticed you didn't like him as much.
He enters it. He's just a tough horse to kind of trust. Sometimes he fires, other times he doesn't.
Yep.
I didn't love his post position, but to me this was just all about Comedy Town and anyone else. I thought Big Data was in a good spot for a piece. It'll be interesting to see where Mike Lerman brings him back. The Super Derby winner certainly wants a lot longer. We'll see when he pops in. Let's go to the finale. Now, we'll go 5 furlongs on the Tapeta. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. The tag is 10. As I mentioned earlier, I lost my long shot to 1. Mikasa, the 4, She Spiteful, was out, and she had a huge chance as well. And it all adds up to Heir to the Roar at a short number, looking for 4 in a row.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this horse is on fire lately. This is the first off the claim, though, for Pablo Torres, who does pretty well with these horses off the claim. Edgar Zayas gets on the horse for the first time, so he has to make a little bit of an adjustment here, but I still thought the 2 was the class of this race. I see you like the 6, but that's a pretty strong horse, too, with some good speed out of the gate, no action.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being a little hard-headed with Heir to the Roar because Torres, as Doug kind of alluded to, is 3 for 8 off the claim, but Ruben Sierra had done such a good job, and I just kind of thought it was weird that he wasn't bumping her up in class, so we'll see. She's inside now,
That's a good point.
Stabbing a little bit with no action, who's going to have to run better, but Rohan Crichton got this one to a win last time, this Daughter of Uncaptured. I like this post here, too, with Joe Trejos aboard.
Yeah, that could help. The post could help here, and this horse is coming off a win at the $8,000 level for these same connections, so there's some consistency there that the number 2 horse, Heir to the Roar, does not have coming into this race.
Let's show it, actually. We've got Heir to the Roar. I wanted to show Mikasa, too, who can't get off the rail ever, never, ever, but we won't have to worry about that today. Heir to the Roar, you have to give her credit. She wants to beat you by a neck, by less than a length, and this one, though, she really walloped him, and this is a power effort.
Yeah, this is really strong coming down the stretch here. The gray horse, Heir to the Roar, getting encouragement from its jockey and just winning comfortably at the end, which was a bit of a surprise.
And using a running style that is not necessarily conducive to winning Tapeta sprint. She wants to come from off the pace a little bit. Edgard might put her a little more speed. To her credit, she was a little closer last time, too. She is clearly the horse to beat. And with the scratches now, there's very likely she could be odds on in this spot. We've got a really good 11-race card today, and we're actually going to take you all the way through Saratoga in the Travers. And the Silks was popping early with that early post at Saratoga. So let's get to the lightning round before we wrap it up here. You're going to be with us tomorrow, and Ed Gray and I were talking in the office. Fly the W, who's such a cool dude, he's going to carry 130 pounds yesterday. I didn't look this up. I don't remember the last time a horse. I had skip away in the Island back in, I think, 1997. Not counting like that.
A lot of people weren't even born then that are watching that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's the only time I could come up with it. He is so cool. And here's Fly the W. He's 14 for 28 on Tapeta.
Dang.
What a cool racehorse.
Yeah, he really is. And as you say, all kinds of experience, and looking forward to seeing him run.
Yeah, he is a real treat. He's in another good spot. He's back on short rest. He won on the turf 2 weeks ago. He does everything. It's really impressive. We talked about this yesterday. I want to run it back today, though. There's an epic clash in the Travers between our Curlin Florida Derby winner Fierceness and our Fountain of Youth winner Dornock. The filly Torpedo Anna's in there as well, and this is Fierceness. When Fierceness wants to run, and you got to catch him at the right time, nobody's going to beat him.
No. This race in the Florida Derby was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I thought he had no competitors coming at him in the Kentucky Derby, but as we know, he didn't come up big in that race. Like you said, which Fierceness are we going to get here today? If you get that one that you see on your screen, he's going to win the race.
He's clearly going to win the race.
But Dornock is awfully good, and I love the story there with the former major leaguer Jason Worth owning the horse and out of nowhere. So that's some of the beauty of this sport. A guy can catch fire and get lucky, and suddenly you're in the winner's circle at a big race. So it's kind of a neat story to follow there.
And if one of the two of them win, Dornock's sitting up there as the leader of the division right now. We got to see both of them front and center during the championship meet. There's loaded championship meet horses up there. Speakeasy in the Grade 1. H. Allen Jerkins came back and looked so good. We, of course, remember him here at the championship meet as well. A lot of excitement. Perfect segue to the big news there, and we talked about it yesterday, but we'll keep reminding you because it's never too early to talk championship meet. We're going to get going on Thanksgiving Day this year. Thursday, November 28th, we'll ring in the championship meet on Thanksgiving Day, which is new for us, so that's pretty cool. And then we'll go 4 days in December, and then that proper 5-day Wednesday through Sunday schedule after the new year.
I bet the spread at 10 Palms is going to be impressive that day.
We'll try to get some turkey that day. Best bet for me is Evanora in race 5. Unfortunately, I lost my long shot in the finale, but Evanora in there. It's a fun day. We are happy everybody's here. It's a beautiful day. If you're thinking about coming out, please do so because the weather looks good. We've got Grade 1 racing at Saratoga and the Travers, and we've got a phenomenal card with the Benny the Bull as well. We've got Doug, and we've also got Pete Aiello upstairs. He's going to run you through the scratches and changes. We're happy to have you aboard on this 11-race Saturday card at Gulfstream Park.